Hello, welcome. Hola. If you want to put in the chat where you're joining from, and we will get started pretty soon. I am in Toledo, Spain. Let's see. If you want to go to the chat and share where you're joining from, perhaps what is your role, and maybe in one word, how are you arriving? And I will share about me too. So, hi Lisa. Hola Lisa. Oh my gosh, we met. That's crazy. Welcome. I'm so glad to see you via text. Hi Rebecca. Okay, Portland, software developer. So for those arriving, we're just introducing ourselves. Just where are you joining from? What is your role? And maybe in one word, how are you arriving? I am arriving excited to talk to you and connecting from Toledo, Spain. We're gonna have fun this hour. It's gonna be a very sharing some tools and just sharing a little bit about me. Hi Victor. Hi Gabriela. Hi Techqueria. Well, so let's get started sharing about me. So who am I and what am I doing here today? And I keep seeing your messages, so keep sharing where you're joining and all these things. But yeah, so today we're going to talk about mindfulness and resilience for Latinx, Latinos, Hispanic, however we prefer to be called or connect better with. And yeah, how did I arrive in this world? How did I get here to teach mindfulness and do this work? So I'm going to share a little bit about my story. So I actually came from, I was in corporate America for about 13 years. I went to school. I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to be an anchor, a news anchor. And I am from Venezuela. My parents are Colombian. And I moved to the US when I was 15. So that's why I have this beautiful accent. Um, so yeah, I embarked on this journey to become this, news reporter. And I worked in the media. I worked for Telemundo and I worked for ESPN. And I did what I got there. And I was doing, I was in this. I felt like, it was 13 years of a lot of, and probably you are in your careers too. It was very fast. I felt like I was rushing a lot through my, through the, trying to achieve and these goals and these things. And I just never, throughout the whole time, yeah, I enjoyed it and I achieved a lot of things, and I also failed at a lot of things. But in that time, I always struggled with finding a balance between my personal life and my professional life. It was very hard for me to find that happy in between. And there was a point that my work life was completely taking over my life, and I felt a little lost. Um, and that led me into a search to see, what is out there, what tools are out there, what can I do to find this balance. And I see you guys keep sharing. Thank you for that, the messages. After searching and studying and reinventing myself, going back to school and getting a master's degree in mindfulness, and in my mid-30s, for the past 7 years, I've been doing this and sharing mindfulness and resilience because I needed it. It was really hard for me to finally find and apply these things in my life. And when I finally learned how to apply them and saw that they were working for me to manage stress, to manage anxiety, to manage all the things that we experience in these careers that we dream of, in finding that life and work balance. When I found that, I said, I cannot keep this to myself. I have to share it with the world. So today I'm going to share some of these things that I have found. And that's my book, my baby, what came out of all the work that I have been doing and I've done in the past years. But I keep reading you. Chicago, born in Ciudad de Mexico, in North Carolina. Okay, welcome, Melissa, David, Christina. Thank you. So we're going to be, it's not only me talking here, we're going to do some activities and sharing in the chat. But before we do that, we're going to have sections. So we're going to have 4 sections and we're going to do an activity in each section. So in the first, that's my story, and I hope you can connect some way, somehow with that. It comes from the heart, and all this work that I do, it comes from my experience, and also from the time that I spent studying and trying to really teach things that are based on science, and I actually are being proven that it helped, and they help me. So today, the intention is to focus on 4 things: managing stress and burnout, the importance of emotions in leadership or in any career or role that you have. You're already sharing some of your roles, so thank you for sharing that. And then resilience and self-care in action. And then we're going to go into a little bit about the power of our culture and our values in this resiliency, in this finding that balance. So I'm going to invite you now to share in the chat again. So my invitation is, what is your intention for this session? What is it that you intend to receive, or your intention for being here in this session? I'll give you a few seconds to respond. What is that intention that brings you here? Maybe one of the things one of my intentions, managing stress or learning, curiosity. Find tools that help me take care of myself. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Looking to enhance my stress management. Mindfulness, the imposter syndrome. Yes. Hear how others manage stress, disconnect and reconnect when the time is right. How to better manage my stress and know that I'm not alone with having to figure out. Yes. I think a lot of people can relate to this very similar post. Build up on some recent mindfulness practice that I implemented in my life recently. Nice, Ivana. Learning how to take care of myself while at work. It gets to be a lot. Yes. And when it's okay to ask for help. Methods for being more mindful. Okay. Thank you. So let's get into it. Let's share some tools, and let's do one of those tools. So this is going to be a very simple one that you can take in your pocket, and it's something that you can practice anywhere, anytime. I'm going to explain it first, and then we're going to try it together. So you have the advantage of nobody is able to see you, so you can do this the most engaged way you can, because nobody's looking at you. So I'll explain it. So we're going to do tres respiraciones. So 3 deep breaths, very deep. And we're going to inhale and exhale. And with each one, we're going to do something. With the first one, we're going just to connect with the body here, wherever you are sitting. Just kind of like notice the body. On the second one, we're going to let go of tension that we notice. And then on the third one, we're going to ask ourselves again that question. I'm going to guide it, so don't worry. We'll do it together. So I'm going to adjust myself and sit it straight. And maybe you want to do the same. Just kind of like relax the shoulders a little bit. If you like, you may close your eyes. If not, just relax your gaze. Just look down. You don't have to be looking at the screen right now. I'm going to help you through the exercise. So taking a deep breath in, inhaling deeply through the nose, exhaling through the nose, connecting with the body. Second breath, inhaling deeply and exhaling, releasing tension from the shoulders, from the body. And a third breath, inhaling deeply and exhaling, and allowing the breath to be at its normal pace. And maybe taking another breath, deep breath at your own pace. Just do it at your own pace. Deep inhale and exhale. And asking yourself again, what is my intention? Be present. Connect with calmness. Something simple. Just be here. Or maybe you're not sure. That's okay too. And opening the eyes and returning back the attention to the screen. So just a moment of pause and taking a deep breath can be very powerful. Did anybody notice a shift in their state or how they were feeling with just this short practice? And you can share in the chat if you did, and if you didn't, that's okay too. So we're going to go into the first, and I'll read to you in a bit, but we're going to go into the first focus point of this session. As I said, we're going to have 4 different ones, so we're going to have activities for each. So the first one is managing stress. A lot of you already mentioned that this is something that you want to find ways to manage stress and burnout. So 70% of leaders report regularly unable to be attentive in meetings. 70% of us, myself, pre-mindfulness, I was in this group. We were so distracted with the phones and the everything. This technology is amazing, but it's also can lead us to be very distracted. So I invite you right now to disconnect just for this session. Just probably mute the phone and turn off the email and just be here. Give yourself that gift. Only 2% of leaders regularly make the time to enhance their personal productivity. Amazing, right? Only 2% spend the time to do this that we're doing right now. So I'm going to ask you if I'm going to share with you what they are, but if you want to try to, think about stress and think about burnout. Have you ever considered what they are? What is it? For me, years ago, I used to say all the time, I'm stressed. But I never knew what it was. It was just an expression of something that was happening in me that I didn't like, that was uncomfortable. So one of the first steps that we take in our well-being is to understand ourselves and what's happening in us a little better. So with that, I'm gonna share with you what stress is. So stress is a physiological and psychological response to internal and external stressors. So anything that is happening in here, a lot of to-dos, a lot of worrying, things happening in our personal and professional lives. So that's internal stressors. And then external stressors are traffic, things are not going the way we want, challenges, obstacles that we all face in life, right? So that is stress, is that physiological in the body and psychological response that we have to internal and external things that are not going the way we would like. And the way we respond to stress is with flight, fight, and freeze. You probably have heard of this. And if you haven't, these are our natural ways to respond. The flight, we feel like something is not the way we want and we want to leave. That's the flight. Or we freeze and we don't know how to react. Or we fight. We actually react in a way that we then regret. So that's stress. Let's talk about what is burnout. So burnout, it's a physical, emotional, or mental exhaustion. And what happens to us? Decreased motivation, our performance is lowered, just a negative attitude toward ourselves and towards others. It's these are very common, and it's okay if we are experiencing this. The body and the mind is just letting us know that it needs a little bit of attention. So perhaps let's check in with ourselves. And I'm going to invite you, all of you here right now, to go to this page. And I'm going to play some music in a second so you can take the test. It should take you like about 2 minutes to see where you are. How is that stress level right now? So if you want to go to that website, I'm going to play some music and just answer. Nobody's going to look at that. This is only for you. This is private. So this is not going anywhere. Respond what feels right now. Don't overthink it. Just what you're feeling now. And again, this is only for you. Nobody will see it. So I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to go and do that. Play some music for you. Thank you, Lydia. So if you're just joining, we are doing a stress test. If you want to go to the website and kind of measure where you are and right now, how you're feeling right now, the results are private. Nobody will see this. So if you are finished, maybe give me like a thumbs up in the chat, or you say you probably got your score. Okay, great. You should see your score. Let me see if I can release the scores now. So let's try to release the scores. You got your scores? Okay, you're good. Yeah, you should get it via email. So check your email and you will see the score. And I will share now what the score, where you're at. So if you check your email, you will see that number. So if you're in the range of 0 to 13, low stress, 14 to 26, moderate stress, and 27 to 40, high stress, perceived stress. So if you are in anywhere you are, it's okay. I sent you via email automatically some tools that you can do after the session. We'll do some more tools during this session, but don't worry. It's like when somebody tells you you have, now you know, what can I do about it? What can I change? What can I do? So we're going to keep talking about the things that we can do. Okay. So second point, what can we start doing? And this is where the importance of our emotions come in place. So just some data from the research out there, systematic review that actually focused on the Latinx community like us, saw that when people participated in mindfulness-based courses or interventions, they saw positive effects on the stress and also on well-being. And this is very recent, included a bunch of papers, and it's a really good. I actually enjoyed this paper a lot. So what can we do? So I wish we had more time to go deeper into these things, but today I hope that I can give you some basics so you can take a bigger step towards your well-being. It's like when you're trying to lose weight, you find a nutritionist, you sign up, maybe if you can, you find a trainer, somebody to guide you through that. The same thing can happen for your mental health and your well-being. You find tools and ways that you can start working on coping with this stress. I wish I could just say, this is the quick fix and it's, really easy. Yeah, there are things that we can integrate after today that are easy, but if you want to do go deeper and have a longer lasting effect that the research shows, we have to do a little more of the work. So what is that work? The mindfulness route. What does mindfulness mean? So mindfulness means paying attention in a particular way on purpose to the present moment without judgment. So I'm going to show you something here, and I invite you to just pay attention to what I'm going to show you. This little box here. You see it? Okay. Keep paying attention. See? There's nothing. So maybe in the chat you can share what happened. What were you doing when I was showing you the box and undoing this? You were probably paying attention on purpose. You made the decision to pay attention, and you had curiosity, and you were like, interested. So that what you were doing right there with this box is something that we apply towards our emotions and mental and physical states. And we learn to do that through mindfulness practices. We start to learn about the power of our emotions. And the power of our emotions, or this studying of this, instead of the box, we're studying ourselves, starts to turn into what is self-awareness. I'm observing, like we were just observing this, and that starts to turn into self-awareness, which is what is self-awareness. So challenging situations, like we all share here, require us to have a keen sense of our reactions and the patterns and behaviors and leadership that we bring to each conversation. So when we pause and start to pay attention to ourselves and listen and see things with curiosity and with kindness, like we were doing with the box, to kind of like try to understand what's happening, we start to learn about our emotions. We start to be able to find ways, to manage difficult emotions and situations. And then that can lead us to develop our self-confidence and fight that imposter syndrome that you were mentioning earlier. So it's a work of it's a complement of various things. So what can you do today to start this change and start this cultivation? My invitation is to go from autopilot to consciousness. What does that mean? I'm going to do another thing. So I'm going to invite you to also just look at the box. Right now, your only goal right now is to look at this box. Okay? Just keep looking at the box. Don't get distracted. Your focus point is the box. Keep looking at the box. So what happened right there? You got distracted with this, right? Me doing this. So what I did right there is the difference between attention and meta attention. Attention is paying attention to the box. Meta attention is noticing that there's a distraction, but I have to pay attention to the box. There's a distraction, but no, that's not, my focus is the box. So if I translate it to everyday language, this transition from autopilot to consciousness is the decision to remember that I'm driving when I'm driving. So I'm driving and I notice that I'm thinking about the meeting that I have. That's autopilot. And just remembering to, okay, I'm driving. And just, okay, I'm driving. That's shifting from autopilot to consciousness. So doing that all over and over and over throughout the day is what can help us start to lower the stress and be less up here and more here in the moment, in the now, right now. So with that, we're going to do a practice again together. So there's going to be a video. This one I'm not gonna guide. I invite you to follow the video, and if it takes you a little bit to catch up, it's okay. Just catch up as you can. And here, what we're gonna do is just, you probably have seen this in social media, that it tells you to inhale and then to hold and then exhale and then hold and then inhale. So just try to follow it as much as you can, and then notice when you get distracted and just return. It's okay. It's normal to get distracted, but return to the video as many times as you need to. And it's only a minute. So we're only going to do it for a minute. And just the whole time, relax the body, just be with that, and remembering that this is your attention, this is your focus for the next minute. So let's do this together. Release tension. And I'm going to read you now. How's that shift? I want to put in the chat. Okay. So that's another way to pause and be present. So the third focus point of the session: resilience and self-care in action. Just data, sharing some data. So the people that develop resilience, they are able to choose alternate ways to respond to challenges that before used to derail them. And it's a tremendous power in being able to shift from that automatic that I just explained, automatic, constantly negative thinking that is default mode of all human beings, and then shifting into being more resilient and being more optimistic or positive patterns. So that's the power of resilience. So what is resilience? Resilience is the capacity that we all have as human beings, and it's also a capacity that we can all train to recover after a significant adversity or any type of adversity, challenge. It's also defined as the ability to bounce back and recover from adversity, conflict, and failure. It's things that we face every day in our personal and in our professional lives. So what does resilience have to do with mindfulness and with things that I've been talking about? So in able to manage stress and cope with challenges in life, we have to have tools, and resilience is those tools that we develop, like the breathing that we did at the beginning, like the one that we just did right now. And we're going to practice another tool, but before that, I want to share the 3 ways, and in a short form, the 3 ways that we can manage and take care of us when a challenge or stress is present. And the first way that we can target the stress that we noticed in that test that we did is by paying attention to the moment. So we can do it with that minute meditation that we just did, or the 3 breath practice that we did, or perhaps just counting 10 inhales and just sitting and counting, inhaling 10 times. So just something very simple as that, focusing the attention on a pause practice. The second way that we can target and start to care for ourselves is to reframe. And when I talk about reframing, I'm talking about trying to reinterpret the challenge or what we're going through. And we're trying to in a way, an example could be of reinterpretation of the event is looking for the positive side of this challenge. For example, we're stuck in traffic, or there's a long line at the supermarket, and we start to get very impatient, right? What's the positive side of that? Very hard, right, to find a positive side of that. Well, if we practice more, we could probably start to consider, you know what, this what I'm feeling right now means that I want to be productive, and that I feel like this is making me feel like I'm wasting my time. And it's actually the positive side that I like to be productive. Another example of reframing, it's perhaps when somebody says something about, gives us criticism, and we feel very sensitive about that criticism. How can we take that as a positive? Okay, so this person told me that, something about something I did at work, and that so my area of improvement, maybe, the reason behind my sensitivity is that I care about being, a good employee, by being a good person. So the good side is that the sensitivity comes from a place of caring and wanting to be good and wanting to be better. And that helps us, that this pausing and reframing the situation helps us see it from another side. And the third one, which we're going to do a practice together, is acceptance. So what does it mean, acceptance? So there are some things that are difficult, and sometimes we have to accept. Perhaps a transition in a role, a move. Those are things that are hard, are difficult, but we have to open up to this experience. And when we open up to an experience, the best gift that we can give ourselves is what is called self-compassion. And a form of practicing self-compassion is something that we're going to do here. So I'm going to invite you to share in the chat, what can you do? And I'm going to invite you to do in the chat so other people can see and have ideas. What can you do to show appreciation and love for yourself today? So what is something that you can do for you today as a sign of support? Maybe you're been working a lot, or it's you're been on a diet, or maybe you haven't taken any time off, or spent time with your spouse or your children. So what is something that you can do to show appreciation for yourself today? Listen to a podcast. Listen to some music. Be vulnerable. Smile. Go to the beach. Celebrate wins, 3 wins, no matter how. Yes. Grab a beer with a friend. Yes. Connection. Sit outside under the sun. Say no more often. Yes. Say no. That's a big one. Disconnect from technology. Yes. Monitor the time that you spend on social media. and how it makes you feel. Great ideas. So write them down. Great. Go on a walk without with your phone. Watch Netflix and watch something fun. Yes. I hope we do some, I'm getting good ideas for myself. So let's do the second part. And this one is going to be for you. This is private. So I invite you to grab a piece of paper or perhaps open you can even do it on your computer too. This is for you, only for you. So find a paper or just somewhere where you can type. And write yourself some kind, understanding words of comfort. So, what do you need to hear today? And this is a practice of self compassion, both of these. What do you need to hear? That's, what are you going through? And think of like a friend, an imaginary friend that is writing this for you. And just spend a minute just writing some words of comfort from this friend to you for those things that you may be challenging right now, no matter what level of challenge it is. And just write some words of comfort. Take a minute. If you don't know how to start, just, dear Chris, I know you, anything that comes to mind, just write it. Nobody's going to see this. I know you're going through this hard time. I hope things get better. I know those type of things. And even if you don't know what to say, just say, I don't know what to say. I'm here for you. And pausing when you can. You can pick this back up after we're done here. But just pausing there and reading what you have written already. Just read it to yourself and read, this letter that you were writing. And after you read it, if you want to share in the chat, how does that feel to write, that comforting, supportive letter to yourself? That's another tool that you can take with you today. Feels like I should do it more often. Yes, sometimes we don't. We do a lot for other people. We always, when a friend tells, we're always like, oh, it's going to be fine. But we don't do it. That's self-compassion in practice. So we're moving towards the last part and last focus point of the session, which is the power of our culture and our values. We're all here because we're Latinx. We come from so many different countries, cultures, and again, some data. Mindfulness can support Latino and immigrants to promote our well-being and increase our resilience. So I hope you take that with you today. That mindfulness. I I I am an activist of bringing this to our community, because mainstream media is benefiting so much from all these tools, but we also need it as as a minority, as a big fastest growing minority. We need these tools, and that's what I want to make sure that we get access to these tools as well. And we get access, but we get access with our spice, with a little salsa, with a little touch of our, where we are, where we come from, our cultures, our values, because we're not all the same. We're all different, even within our own Hispanidad and Latinismo, we are different and unique in many ways. But some of the things that we do share in a, in an overall sense, it's some of our values. And the values, you can see them here, and I'm not going to go through each one of them because, we have a very short time. But we're going to do an exercise. And the exercise, we're just going to work on two together. And the one that we're going to work with is collectivism, and then personalism. So collectivism, so we know it's, we come from a collective mindset, decisions are made as a group, decisions are made as a family. The family and the group is always first, we're always group driven, and we come to the United States, and we grow up, some of us in the United States, and there's a little bit of clash of culture because the US is highly individualistic culture, which is not bad, but it's just a different type of culture. So there's a clash in your decisions in your career. Maybe you have a tech job in San Francisco, but your family lives in Florida, and that decision is made as a family. Like, are you going to move? Are you, and that's something that the whole family is involved. In. I went through that myself. Having to make decisions, and still today, as a family, as a unit. So that's something very unique to our culture. And then personalismo, which emphasizes on the importance of having smooth and interpersonal relationships through warm, friendly, and personal interactions. So how many times have you, had like, just think about the last call you had with a coworker that is Latinx. How long did it take before you actually talked about work? If you have that, if you are, practicing this value, or is very ingrained in you. For some of us, we are catching up on life and, and doing many things before we actually get to, which is not bad. This is great. It's part of who we are. So that's the same thing. This is something the different, that it's sometimes with the American culture, or the mainstream culture, is not the way it is. But what the activity that we're going to do here is going to be how can we use our values as ways to empower us and to make us be unique, and help us in our roles and what we do. So I'm going to invite some of you to share, and I'll share after some strategies. But talking about collectivismo, do you already find ways to, strategies to make group-based decisions, in your group, at home? What are some things that you do to integrate, this in your lives? I can read you. see. Some strategies that you use. Perhaps you invite everybody for dinner at home to make a group-based decision. Or maybe at work, you say, okay, let's go to lunch, We used to do that. How do you do it now with the new technologies? How can you integrate this value of the collective? Very quiet. I see they're coming. Slack channels to work and collaborate, polls. Yes, polls, surveys, share a Google Doc, have everyone write their ideas with no pressure. Anonymous surveys, yes. So I'll share with you some here. So you're already sharing some good ones, but brainstorming, there are many techniques out there, to that people use, and many, you all work in the tech world, but there's so many tools today too. But now with like Zoom breakout rooms, many ways that we can start bringing in the whole group and making them then feel like their ideas have value. So let's do a second one before we're done today. How can I be more personable or relatable before getting down to business or the task at hand? If you, and when I explained the personalismo, sometimes, for me, it took me a long time to find the life and work balance and find cohesion between the American and my Latino culture. At times in our careers, we become, we are, we acculturate, assimilate, and if you to really fight that imposter syndrome, to really coming to being yourself, you have to embrace all of these things. And so if this is new for you and the considerations are new for you, that's okay. But just how can I start considering these things that are positive for my culture and they can benefit me in my day, in my everyday? So in the personalismo, how can I open up a little more, be more relatable, before I actually get to the task? I assure you, if you're not doing it already, that just having a relaxed human to human connection is going to help you lower that stress. So if these type of, things that we do in our culture are very, are strong, resilient tools. Just having that human connection, forgetting that it's, task. So next time you're in a call or in a meeting, what can you ask? What can you say? What can you do? Icebreaker. Share something first to allow the other person to feel safe to share back. Thanks, Lisa. Hi, how are you doing? How's your day going? But actually really wanting to hear the answer. How's your day? Show personal care before business. Build a personal relationship to get the best out of our teammates. Thank you, Michael. Start out with having people who want to share out, to share a celebration, whether work or personal. Yes. Finding common interests. Yes. Great ideas. So I usually, with my team at Alma y Espíritu, we always start our meetings with 1 minute of a meditation, like we did at the beginning, kind of like a breath arrival meditation. And then, we do one, sometimes we do like share a victory or something that you're proud of in your personal or professional life that you want to share. Sometimes like we'll host, like the other day, one of them likes to do like these like vision cards, like about like positive daily like affirmations, and she pulled one card for each of us, and then like like we talked about if it applied, things like that. Like you don't have to straight go into like the meeting. You can just take little steps, and that helps everybody. We all yearn connection when your inter conversations are more interesting than work itself. Yes. So these are some tools. If you're interested in taking an extended course or bringing some mindfulness to your group, if you have an ERG, just feel free to connect with me, take a look at my book. I'm happy to answer any questions if you want to put them in the chat or in the Q&A. I'm happy to answer some questions. Hope you enjoyed the session. And there will be some tools in that email from the test that you can do. They're free, that you can do and use. How do we get you? Amazon. Yes. Just look my name up and it should come up. Thank you, David, for asking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Melissa, for being here. Thank you for that. Thank you, everyone. I'll stay here for a few if any questions come up. Enjoy the sessions. Thank you, Lisa. Oh my gosh. Send me a note so we can connect. Thanks for the good wishes. Thank you, Gabriela. Okay, let me copy. I'll send you a LinkedIn, and everybody, if you want to connect, feel free to connect with my LinkedIn. Thank you, Michael. I am grateful to have you, all of you, and to share these things. No questions. Well, enjoy the rest of the event. Happy to connect with me if you have any questions or anything. I'm happy to be of help. Thank you, everybody. Take care.